All right, it is Tuesday morning, May 16th. Welcome to KSAT News Now. Thanks again for hanging out with us on all of our digital platforms. You can find us on KSAT.com, KSAT Plus, and don't forget about the KSAT YouTube page as well. And also, don't forget that we are a podcast, so once you get to see this, you can also hear us in audio form. Make sure to like, rate, and subscribe to the KSAT News Now podcast. And I do want to say this is a happy NBA Draft Lottery Day, everyone. Yes, it's not an official holiday, but hopefully it will become one for the Spurs in the near future. We're going to talk about the NBA Draft Lottery coming up and the French phenom who can potentially change the Spurs franchise for the next, hopefully, 15, 20 years, the same way that Tim Duncan did so back in 1997 and David Robinson 10 years before that. So we're going to talk a little bit NBA Draft Lottery. That is a big talker throughout the San Antonio area. Justin Horn is standing by. He's going to give us the very latest with our weather, what to expect the rest of today and also for the next couple of days. Hopefully we get some good weather as we head through the rest of the week. But of course, we do start here with some local news. And actually some sad news this morning on the city's far west side. A man is confirmed to be dead after San Antonio police say that he was hit and killed by multiple vehicles while crossing the road. The crash happened just before 6 this morning on West Military Drive, not far from JBSA Lackland, or there on the southwest side. According to police, the man was in the middle of the street when he was struck by a vehicle, and then other cars hit him as well. All the drivers of the cars did stop to help, but it was too late for this individual. The man was pronounced dead at the scene. The name and age of this man that died, unfortunately, here in this accident have not currently known, and no charges are expected to be filed. Again, right now, we're hearing that these drivers did stop to at least sort of render aid to this individual. So a story that we followed early this morning on Good Morning San Antonio. Okay, now to some big national news here, and again, more unfortunate news here. Police say that at least 3 people are dead and 9 are injured following a mass shooting in New Mexico. So this shooting happened yesterday in Farmington. This is a small town there in New Mexico. 2 officers are part of the 9 that were injured, and the 18-year-old suspect is dead.
We are actively looking at several blocks of this crime scene to determine what actually happened while we were responding to this scene. Because of the numerous phone calls that we did receive, we are trying to gather a lot of information that came in very rapidly.
All right, still a lot to go through there, and that right there was the deputy chief of the Farmington Police Department. Now, the tragedy prompted, of course, statements from the governor of New Mexico, who said that she would not stop fighting against gun violence. Unfortunately, something that we see far too often in this country. Okay, we're going to switch gears here a little bit. So we're going to be talking now about the 30th annual NBA Draft Lottery. So this is taking place tonight, and every Spurs fan's keeping their fingers crossed, lighting those candles, doing anything and everything, manifesting this. Hopefully that San Antonio gets the number 1 pick. So the NBA Draft Lottery will determine the order of selection for the first 14 picks of this summer's NBA Draft. And it all goes down tonight at 7 o'clock in Chicago on ESPN. So we'll give you kind of a quick update here on the percentages. So the Spurs have a 14% chance to get the number 1 pick. That is highest amongst the rest of the teams in the lottery, and they have 14% along with Houston and Detroit. So these 3 teams finished with the worst records, so they all have the best opportunity here to land the number 1 pick. So here's one other thing here. The Spurs can finish no lower than the 7th overall pick, but if that happens, I don't know, I may have to take a sports walk or something if they end up with the 7th pick. We don't want that. Here's the reason why, because the player that is most coveted here is French phenom Victor Wembanyama. This is a 19-year-old young man. He's considered to be the best prospect since LeBron James, and according to all these experts, would immediately transform any franchise that he ends up landing on. So yeah, Victor Wembanyama, that's the guy right there. So the NBA Draft will be held June 22nd at Barclays Center in New York City, well, Brooklyn, New York there. And yeah, hopefully the Spurs will be picking number 1. Now the number 2 pick wouldn't be bad as well. That's a very heralded prospect, a young man named Scoot Henderson. But Victor Wembanyama is the guy that the guy that everyone wants here, Justin. You could take Victor Wembanyama, right? 1-on-1?
Absolutely not. The odds, 14%.
Are they in our favor?
14% chance. I didn't know it was that low.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, when you spread it out amongst the teams, so
Yeah.
14% chance for those 3 lower teams, and then Charlotte's next with 12.5%, and then Portland's at 10%.
What were our odds when we got Tim Duncan? Were they the same?
Actually, they were better. They were better, but they didn't do the lottery the way they did it now. So the Spurs, at that time, the Spurs had the second worst record in the NBA. Boston had the worst, and they thought for sure they were going to get Tim Duncan. Boston actually lost that lottery. San Antonio jumped up, but that's why well, you know what? Why are you bringing that up?
We're gonna be okay.
We need good vibes.
We're gonna be fine. We got good vibes.
Hey, that was a good vibe there. Yeah.
You know,
Tim
yesterday,
Duncan. All right.
RJ got a little sunburned. Got me thinking.
Yeah.
We're going to bring back the trivia question tonight. So
okay.
dermatologists suggest sunscreen with an SPF of at least 30.
God,
What does SPF stand for? You know, I didn't know this. Okay, I should, but I don't. Is it solar proliferation factor, sun protection factor, sun penetrating force, or Spurs power forward? I threw that in there for Win by Yum. That's
Yeah, I like that. I'm going to guess that it's not D.
No, it's not.
Even though that's pretty cool, man. Very creative there. Wow, penetrating force just sounds not good. Let's see, sun protection. I'll go with sun protection factor. I feel like that's kind of the most obvious. Let's go with that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
You're right. You did well today.
I liked it. Did you make up that first one?
I did.
Proliferation?
I
That's
did.
Pretty good, man.
I tried. It took some work.
That's pretty good.
I don't know. You know, you should get over 30 for the SPF. A lot of people don't, but you should. 30 and above is what they recommend. I'm like at 70. Okay,
Me
so
too.
I don't take any chances.
Yeah, same here.
But anyway, it's sunscreen. We're getting into that point where you will need some sunscreen as we head into these warmer months. Hopefully, we'll get some natural shade today in the form of some showers and storms. We're looking at some pop-up activity already starting to take shape, and I think by the afternoon you'll see more of that on the radar. So it'll be somewhat active, pretty similar to yesterday. There'll be some downpours. It'll just be hit or miss, random stuff. It's hard to know who will get rain, but if you're lucky enough to get underneath one of these storms, you could pick up a quick half an inch. Once we lose daytime heating, all goes away tonight, and tomorrow far less than we have coverage. We're talking just a stray storm or two tomorrow afternoon. So that's it. KSAT 12-hour forecast, 81 at 1 o'clock, 82 2 p.m., 30% chance of rain today. We'll keep that until about 8. And then by 9, 10 o'clock, we'll drop the rain chances off. And we'll just be looking at mostly cloudy skies. Extended forecast. We'll go 87 tomorrow, 89 Thursday, 91 Friday. What you'll notice here, RJ, is that we've got 3 days of pretty quiet weather. And then the rain returns this weekend. 30% chance Saturday, 30% chance Sunday. Not great chances, but at least we got some more rain. It's been a good stretch here for us this spring, especially when you consider we've almost got as much rain as we did all of last year.
Yeah.
So we're doing a lot better.
Yeah, and especially that rain that came in late Friday night, early Saturday morning.
That was the big
pretty
one.
Good stuff there.
Yeah,
that was definitely much needed. But okay, seeing some upper 80s there, so not feeling great about that. But yeah, I'll get the sunscreen ready to go.
SPF 30 Thursday and Friday. Do it.
I'm with you, man. I go 70 all the way. I don't mess around here.
No,
I don't need to be any darker. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, moving on here. Martha Stewart. Hey, you know what? Martha Stewart just doing the most now. She has landed a historic spot on the cover of the 2023 Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. Check out Martha Stewart right there, looking beautiful there at the young age of 81 years old. The lifestyle businesswoman is actually the oldest swimsuit model the magazine has featured. So the shoot was held in the Dominican Republic, and Stewart appears in a total of 10 different looks. So Sports Illustrated called the cover epic on Twitter, and she definitely tweeted out too, shared on Instagram, that this is a pretty historic moment for her.
She looks great. It's awesome that at her age she's doing this. My only thing is, people forget she was in jail. Like she committed fraud.
She has had definitely quite a career.
We've forgiven her for that, I suppose, at this point.
Well, I think, I was kind of doing the same thing. I was looking back and kind of seeing like where she started. She's had like 100 different books. Remember, she was like hanging out with Snoop Dogg for a little bit, doing the cooking show.
That was a big deal.
So she definitely has sort of transcended a lot of different genres, and yes, had her ups and downs along the way. But
well, good for her.
Good to see her doing great and thriving in there as well. And it also made me think of the fact that Sports Illustrated, their swimsuit edition, that thing's still going pretty strong. I remember that was a pretty big deal. I mean, when I was growing up, it was always kind of, we had a subscription to Sports Illustrated, but good to see that the SI swimsuit edition is still hanging in there.
Still going.
Yeah, definitely always kind of taking risks and doing some big things there. Okay, guys, so we're going to wrap things up there. Okay, again, NBA Draft Lottery tonight. We're having our fingers crossed that hopefully Spurs can land that #1 pick and turn this franchise around. I like it. I like the confidence, man.
Yeah.
All right. That's going to wrap things up for here on your Tuesday. KSAT News Now. Have a good one, everybody.